Olympic sports I thought would be fun. So I thought I would do a bobsled first. One of my favorite movies growing up as a kid was Cool Runnings, which is about a Jamaican bobsled team. It's loosely based on a true story. I That's my first experience ever with bobsledding. Was Cool Runnings, and I it's funny, I watched it relatively recently. It's an interesting. So the back of the bobsled has there's one area here that so there's all these little push tools that come off. And I thought we would do penguins pushing the bobsled. So let's see. Okay, hang on, I'm having trouble here. Okay, my bad. So I wasn't sure which types of penguins I would do. But let's just do the classic penguiny penguins. I'm try to make them so this guy's in the back. So we're not going to see much of him. We're just doing the sketch right off. Penguins are funny because they don't really ever run. So to me, this seems like a more interesting. We'll have them leaning forward into it. And we will put their little wings out. So penguins do in fact have fur, which not fur, feathers, which I didn't really get for a long time because it feels like they don't look like they have feathers. I'm trying to see how bobsled teams, what do you have? Like two on one side, one on one side, two on the other, and then one in the back. Okay. So the fun part of this is going to be getting actually getting the penguins more rendered. This has, you know, the ice skating blades, except gigantic, whatever these are called, bobsledding blades. It's blades, right? Not skis. I think it's blades. Oh, you know what? I think it's actually two sets. I don't think it's all one. That would make sense. If you want to go really fast, you don't want to be touching the ice on a lot of spaces. And if you want to be able to turn, these have to be controlled by something. Okay. We're getting there. I need my little. Okay. I dropped my eraser. Oh, hey, Elsior. We're going to turn these sketches into real penguins. And we're going to do a team of bobsledding penguins. Okay. What are these cuties going to look like? Okay. We're going to do their little flat tails. and their little waddly legs. Sort of like that. Wing, and we'll let the wing go flat because it'll be on one of those poles. And then we'll do the penguin head. We'll have it. It's like, which penguin is this? The one that's like all, like the classic penguin, right? Like wings are black, sides are black, belly's white, face is black. Hang on. I'm struggling with the head right now. I've done a bunch of different types of penguin. I feel like maybe this was the wrong choice for these guys, but I don't really know any other penguins. There, that's kind of what their heads look like. I mean, that is what their heads look like. So these are emperor penguins. I think these are the ones that are in like Happy Feet. But I'm seriously considering switching these guys out. They just don't feel cute enough. But let's continue on. There was like a penguin type bird. Hey Fabs, I am drawing a bunch of penguins pushing a bobsled. A penguin bobsled team. We're at the mostly at the sketching stage, but it is coming together. Penguin, bird arm. Oh, I am taking your advice. Let's go. Southern African penguins. I'm excited. I love getting one of my favorite things about doing um, the streams, the live streams, is getting input from people about this kind of stuff. Oh yeah. These ones are great. Okay. We don't have to do too much change. I like their wings a lot better. Okay. So the big thing for these guys, these were emperor penguins. We're going to keep the size the same and just pretend the bobsled is magic and change sizes. So one thing I find interesting about these, the African penguin, is where their arms come from, which is like kind of low on the body. Not that low. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'll move this up so it's more in so the chat's not in the way. And then they have a lot more white. So this part is black. Their beak is a lot better, I think. No offense, emperor penguins. Thank you. I needed this. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about puffins, and I was thinking about they're like wargs. Is that the right word? I don't think it is. There was in the northern hemisphere, there was a penguin type bird that ended up going extinct, but in the age of sail in the 1800s, they were all over the place. Okay. So we're gonna do like eye and beak. That's all black. This is where the eye is. And then they have like a black crown. Come back, do that. Heck yeah. And we'll get the rest of their coloring in later, but I'm already feeling a lot better about these guys. I like their legs better. Definitely cuter. Really good input. Auk, thank you. The auk, yes. Why I said warg? I don't even know what a warg is. Okay. I think a warg is a fantasy creature, maybe. Okay. I'm trying to make it look determined, but also still like a penguin. I like that it has like a, instead of just having a white belly, it has like a line around it. Yeah, I'm thinking of Worf. Yeah, I was just reading. So I listen to a lot of like fact-based and trivia podcasts and stuff like that. I'm a big trivia. I really love trivia. And they were talking about one of the guests they had on. I think this was a No Such Thing as a Fish. One of the guests they had on had just recently held the last living great auk. I believe this is what I think I'm remembering correctly. And essentially, they didn't know where it was because they just had poor record keeping at the time, but they knew like where its internal organs had been were. And so they did genetic testing and they found where its skin was, where the rest of it was. And I read that there's a diary entry of a sailor, and we think it might be like the moment the ox went extinct. And basically, he says, so what had happened was um, they started being expensive because they were so rare. And so people were capturing them to sell. And I think dead mostly, but their rarity was what made them valuable. So the people capturing them were trying to keep them rare. And this is part of what made them extinct. I've heard it described as instead of today, we'd be like, oh my God, this animal is endangered. We need to protect it. They were like, oh my God, this animal is endangered. We can make a lot of money selling it. Okay. And so they would crush the nests because they didn't want competition. Basically, the laws of supply and demand, they were keeping the supply down. And so we have a journal entry right exactly around the moment the great auk goes extinct about somebody stomping the nest of a great auk. Okay. I'm trying to think what like markings they would have on their bobsled. Oh, it would be black and white probably. So we'll do like a black head with like a little, no, with a black beak. And then this line, just like these little African penguins have. And then this will also be black. Okay, okay. All right, I'm digging it now. Thank you again for the recommendation. I needed it. Okay, we get the little feet. We want to make, I think this is the one that's most, we'll see this one running too, so I'll do his foot so he's also running. I'm trying to think of other sports that are not just going, like other winter sports that are not just going downhill really fast. Because I know snowboarding is popular, but that is just going downhill really fast. And I know I always think of skeleton and luge, which are very fast. And then I guess there's figure skating, so we can do some skating. I think it's interesting. Figure skating is named because you would literally skate in like figure eights. And oh yeah, speed skating is really good. What was it? There's a really great speed skate at the last Winter Olympics, I think, or it might have been 2 Winter Olympics ago. They all blend together. But there's been some really great yeah, we'll do speed skating. That sounds fun. We'll do polar bear speed skating. That'll be the next. I was trying to think of what I wanted the polar bears to do, because polar bears make a lot of sense to do Winter Olympics. Although I think we can also do like a giraffe or something. It doesn't have to be all polar bears, all wintry Olympic guys. And do just their little feet underneath. And then that guy, you won't see his feet. Just do that. Okay. Okay, I think we're getting there. Their faces feeling right. Okay, looking good, little guys. Let's bust out the black pencil. Ooh, a moose. Yeah. Moose are scary. I don't know if you've seen, there's a video of these like tourists going up to a moose. And the locals are like, hey, you should leave that moose alone. And they're like, what is it, your moose? They're like, no, no, what? No, it's not my moose. But you should leave it alone. I don't know, it worries me. They're so gigantic and they can run so friggin' fast. Okay. We'll do this real quick and we'll get them a little cleaned up. Oh, I should have given them little bobsledding uniforms. This is better. Yeah, so, but man, I really did love the Jamaican bobsled. You know what it was too? It wasn't like my favorite movie or anything, but it was a movie my little brother also liked. So if you have siblings, sometimes it's like it's all about the compromise. Like if you both will watch something, sometimes that just becomes the an easy movie. It's, well, that's like my nana really liked or liked. I don't know if she really liked it. Star Wars. So she would put on. She would be okay if we put on Star Wars, but she wasn't thrilled about, say, Jamaican bobsled team, which is called Cool Runnings again. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm just doing a little cleanup of the guide marks of the sketch. I'll do it for the bobsled too while we're here. It doesn't erase the colored pencil very well, so now's a good time to do it before or after I've done the colored pencil. Kind of like makes that the final say. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, okay, Fabs. Thanks for being here, though. Good suggestion. Oh, yeah, your whole movie loved Cool Runnings? That's great. Your whole movie. Your whole family loved Cool Runnings? That's great. You have a bigger family than me, so it's harder to get a consensus, probably. But I think it's like a good sports story is timeless. It's very good. That's why they keep making these sports movies, even though they all generally have the same couple of plots. But like that's not a bad thing because they really do hit, even though you know what's coming most of the time. Okay, this guy's little feet. Okay, I want to figure out the eyes. And I feel like the eyes are kind of make it break it. They have orange eyes with little um, pupils, black pupils. What's the gosh, I have no idea. I have no idea what I was going to say. Okay, determined but friendly eyes, I hope. I'm going to do the outline of the bobsled at least in pen. I think it'll help make the bobsled look real or serious. It doesn't, I don't know, it feels like not there. Hmm. Maybe that'd be like you can still see a little bit of the other one. Okay. I'm going to give it a little shadow. I'm going to give everybody a little shadow. Kind of make them exist in the space together. Uh-huh. Okay, and I am going to quick outline these penguins, and then I'm going to go on to the next. Let's do a speed skating polar bear. And let's think about what we want that moose to do. Maybe we'll do a polar bear and a moose speed skating together. Oh yeah, we can do a panda instead of a polar bear. Yeah, they're both good. Panda's another black and white animal. Maybe I'll miss that. I've been working to get better at inking. I did Inktober for the last few years, but I wasn't coloring physically. So I was inking things and then I was bringing them into the computer to color. And I loved coloring digitally. I still really like digital work. I think in a lot of ways it's, I like it better, but I am practicing uh, this way because I think anytime you get better at it in any specific way, you get better at it in all the ways. So I'm practicing doing physical coloring, non-digital coloring, uh, and rendering, and I have really enjoyed it. I think it's helped my art in all ways, and I think like especially when so much digital can be whipped up so quickly nowadays, um, at slop. I think having something physically colored and physically done can really, it does something. It has like a type of physicality that a lot of things don't. And part of that is the mistakes and the like sloppiness of it. I say sloppiness. I don't mean sloppiness. I mean like the looseness of it. But yeah, my style is in the process of a big change. I'm sort of figuring myself out as an artist again. And I feel like probably I will be forever doing that. I can't imagine it being interesting to not change your style. I think that came out pretty good. Little penguin bobsledders. All right. So the next one, let me have some water. And then it's like, wow. I assume they're all jumping in. Bobsled. There's like polar bears in the background. They're they're like, don't make it. Oh no, they're friendly. Man, polar bear's scary. A giraffe, but he's really bundled up because it's cold. All right, let's do polar bear. I just did staining. I stained some shelves. That's actually going to be a video on Oddfoot's channel. We are redoing our apartment to fit two very productive artists in. And so we have a lot of just we both need a lot of space, and we have only a two-bedroom apartment. No, a one. Geez, I wish a one-bedroom apartment. And so we are okay, kind of sticking it all together. Nope, I don't think it's frozen. I am going to look up some speed skating pictures. Hmm. All right. So I'm just trying to see how humans' bodies look while speed skating, and then we'll alter that to make it look like a polar bear, or we'll try. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna do how am I gonna approach this? Let's go. Okay. Come on, brain. We'll do feet. Sort of. Okay. I keep saying okay. Um, those are the feet. Some legs. These are going to be different because it's going to be polar bears. So we're not too picky. I just want to get a sort of idea of how we're going to do this. They're leaned forward like very a lot. So this is like shoulders and this is like hips. And then this is like head and then like hairline or helmet or whatever and eyes. And then arms are kind of like boom and boom. Okay. This is going to be hard. Well, I think this is pretty accurate. I just think it looks bad. But let's go with it. Okay. First, I'll do it. I'll do it head down. I think that's the. Okay. Polar bear head. We'll have him looking slightly off, or we'll be looking at him not directly forward, or her. I think that'll be better. So we can get a better like per idea of the shape. Okay, polar bears' heads are actually pretty flat. So we'll make sure we do that. Kind of tiny ears. Okay. Make them look serious. All right. Giant, thick shoulders, but not hugely far apart. More sort of directly beneath them. And we'll do a big paw here. And then this one will kind of have go back, and we'll do the top of a paw here. We probably will have to reimagine some of this. I mean, animals don't have the same anatomy exactly as humans, so it's going to be an interesting trick. Okay, but I think we're getting there. So now, polar bear legs. I think just incredibly thick thighs. And it's going to be ice skates anyway, so we can kind of just go knees and then gigantic ice skates. I'm wondering if we should do the speed skaters. Let's move the shoulder down a little bit. Claw, paw. Yeah, I like that. And then this hip is actually coming up from behind because it's bent way over. So I think we can show that. Okay, this sketch has actually come better together than I thought. Yeah, I'm wondering if we should show the like gear. I don't know if it would really work on a polar bear. Let's just give it a quick. So they have the glasses because they move so dang fast, and then they have a helmet because same. I think that can work. I'm gonna do like knee pads to help sell the knees actually. And then ice skates. Ah, yes. So this ice skate is touching the ground. This ice skate is pointing backwards. All right, so now we can get rid of the human inside of it. That was helping us get the shape correct. We'll get rid of some of these guidelines, and that'll help us make sure it all looks right by itself. Because sometimes you'll go perfect on the guidelines. Everything will be like what it's supposed to be. But then you'll actually, when you actually see it, you'll be like, oh, this doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense for that animal. Okay, this one will be in front a little bit. That'll be the ice skate. And that the blade should be directly beneath. So I think this is good. The blade is directly beneath the center of mass, which it needs to be in order to actually look like it's holding the bear up. This skate does feel like it's going to be pushed back. Maybe we'll move this knee down a little bit to sort of give it more of a impression that it's foreshortened. We'll foreshorten it more. This arm I don't think I like. And then this arm I'm still suspect on. I think this is, let's move this arm like this. So it comes down and comes forward and sort of crosses the body, because that's he's thrown it that way in order to balance themselves out. That makes this arm look a lot better. Okay. Man, polar bears are funny because they're just all white. So not super fun to draw. There's an old joke. Polar bear in a snowstorm. And it's just a polar bear in a snowstorm. But on a more serious note, I do think getting the eyes and nose right can sell a whole dang picture. So I'm going to do the eyes real quick and see how I feel about them. I like it. I feel good. And the mouth we're going to make like not uh, predatory, but not smiling, because he is a predator. We're going to do fur around the face, and the ears are also going to make, we're going to make sure they look furry. That thigh, though, yeah, we'll bring this belly down. Okay. And then we'll make this thigh come forward. This will be the knee pad for that one. And then this will be the knee pad for this one. Okay. We'll be able to see the top of this knee pad a little bit. That'll help with the illusion of depth. All right. I think this arm now feels a lot better now that we've brought this one forward. But let's kind of bring it closer to the body and sort of accentuate the foreshortening, because it's just, it's not, I'm not buying it. I'm still not super happy with it. Come on, arm. All right, let's erase this arm. Sometimes the other arm there that you're trying to correct like influences you, and so it's better to like erase it, do something else for a minute, and then come back. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to erase that arm. We're going to do a little bit of cleanup of these other markers. Maybe we'll do the laces on the skates, and then we will come back to yeah, let's do the laces. There's someone having a party, man. I think it's funny because when we first moved here, there was lots of noise, but it was like warmer, and it didn't feel weird. It was just like, oh yeah, there's a lot of people like at some sort of event or something. And I feel like now it's so cold, so that now when it's noisy, I'm like, what is happening? What I'm trying to say is I'm the problem. Okay, polar bear. How are we going to deal with your arm? That's good. Okay, it'll go back. And then just back again. Nope. Back and down. I think that's... So shoulder, arm going back. And then coming forward, but not really. Like coming forward compared to this one. Going down. And then this would be the paw. And the paw would be mostly facing inside. So this would be the bottom. This would be the top. I think that's what I got. We can do elbow pads maybe to help define where the joint is. Yeah, I think this is good. I want to see, like, what do polar bears' ears? Did I get them right? I think I did. I think they look pretty much like that. I think they maybe come up a little bit more. And they're a little bit less teddy beary. That looks doofy. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's the belly. So that is definitely in front of this guy. Okay, I think like the knee and elbow pads are kind of thrown together, but I don't think that matters too much. The helmet, we could do a little bit more work on the helmet. And the same with the glasses, we'll just kind of... They're more goggles than glasses. I don't know how cold it is when you're speed skating. I assume it's not that cold because, like, that's just not how... Wait, is the eye off or is the goggle off? It's not usually how, like, winter sports work. I think it was the goggle. Like, it's cold, but above the ice, I don't think it's, like, freezing. It's not like... But when you're outside and it's windy and it's cold, having goggles makes all the difference. Okay, having this part of the arm come in front of the chest here and having the chest come in front of that part of the arm here. That helps a lot. You can put maybe a little bit of the head in front of it. Okay. And it's like a stadium. You got penguins in the audience, another polar bear who's pretty excited to be here. You know, same giraffe from earlier. He's got a different seat. He's just wearing one scarf now. Oh, hey, Voltros. It has been a long time. How you doing? It's been like quite a while. All right. I think, I don't know if we're going to do a lot of ink on this guy. I think let's do some cleanup of the pencil and maybe leave it as is. Think about doing another sport, another animal. Well, let's see. Let's clean up the pencil first. I'm always jumping to the next thing too fast. I think most of my sketch guidelines and stuff are probably in the face and the head, the helmet. Get that out. Man, polar bears scary. There's that thing about bears. I don't know. I don't know the rhyme, but it's supposed to help save your life. And it's like if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. And if it's white, run for your life or something. Like just don't let it ever think you're prey. Something like that. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really great. I feel like there's such an amazing feeling when you like start selling the stuff you've created. And for me, it really like changed my relationship with myself and like how I felt about the things I've created or want to create. We have not signed up for any of the craft fairs up here yet, but it's on our short list. We're just still unpacking our lives, but we're still making a lot of progress. And we have done craft fairs since we moved here, just the ones that we were doing already. Yeah, what kind of figures? Okay. Oh, that's great. That's really fun. I should do I've been thinking about it. Not clay figures. You got that on lock. But illustrations. I've done a lot of pet illustrations, but I think I could probably do, if they're interested in this style anyway, like Sona illustrations. But I love good polymer clay. When I was young, there would be these carnivals that would come to our town. And one of the carnivals had a couple who seemed really hippie to me, to my young, and they sold polymer clay, all sorts of stuff, polymer clay mushrooms, necklaces. And I just thought they were so cool. I would like go to the fair just to see them. I had a little wizard they had made. Yeah, yeah. I do think I was just talking about that. I don't know if you were here, but like how my style has expanded and changed a lot in the last couple of months. And a big part of it has been the influence of doing the live streams because I will now do like color uh, physically on the live stream. And I used to with colored pencils or even with crayons sometimes. And I used to never do that. I would always do my color digitally. I would sketch in pencil and then I would either scan it in or I would do a little inking. But I had stopped inking and just been scanning in and doing color, and that was like all of my illustrations that I was selling were like that. So I like was had a lot of motivation to continue doing that because I was getting a lot of both financial and social like recognition for it. But then I started doing like requests on the live streams, and then I busted out the colored pencils, and then I started doing coloring some of the requests just because like it was cool and why not? And then I got better at that. And then I added ink back in and this like much more I was doing inking in more of like a comic book before, like a comic book or even cartoon, like cell cell style. Because I was then erasing the pencil or even not using the pencil at all. But I find it much nicer now to mix the pencil and the ink. And that's something that has really started expanding my abilities because now I can also do like even the stuff I was doing before, I'm better at because of the experience I got doing this. Not bad. I like this guy. So we've done some penguins bobsledding. We've done a polar bear speed skating. Oh, yeah. He's moving at us. So, okay. I was just thinking about a moose doing like skeleton because it like I think skeleton's the one where you're just like lying face first on a sled and there's no you don't even like have control over it, right? So a moose would be like what do moose's heads look like? Something like that. And then the giant moose antlers. And like this is mostly what you would see. Oh, and maybe like um I don't know, feet, clip cloppers. I don't know what you call them on meese. On the mooses. I'm kidding. I know it's moose. I don't think I want to do moose or skeleton. I guess we could do skiing. We could do snowboarding. We could do snowboarding. Yeah, we could do figure skating, but I think we just did skating, so let's do snowboarding. We could do snowboarding. Let's choose an animal. We just did a bear. Oh, I'm choking. Oh, we just did a bear, so we could do snowboarding. Oh, I like doing squirrels. Let's do a snowboarding squirrel. Oh, that's a moose. Okay. I should look up snowboarding to make sure I'm not making any stupid mistakes. It could be the half pipe, right? And so then it would be like you'd have like this half pipe, and then it's like comes down like this. And you have the over here you have like the what's it called? With all the advertisements. And then here you would have the squirrel like catching air on the snowboard. And have the snowboard be like whoosh. We won't see much of it because it's that way. The squirrel's feet are here. Man, it's something. Okay. This wasn't an easy choice, but I'm pretty excited. Okay, squirrel's body, squirrel's feet, and squirrel's feet will be bent. Its legs, I mean. Bent legs. Bop, 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 bop. Hmm. Head. Is this snowboard too big for, I mean, too small for this squirrel? Maybe. We'll keep going. We'll see. We can always expand. I don't know why. I think I'm drawing a. Oh, his head's probably turned because they look in the direction they're going. Which makes sense. They should do that. So I really like the movie. I didn't see it a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it was because my little brother didn't like it. And he was the loud child, so he got to his pick of movies pretty frequently. Or at least had to be a movie he also liked. Um, King Arthur, Sword in the Stone, Sword in the Stone. He'll have his like little squirrel arm holding on to the thing here. Probably is bent a little. That's not how arms bend. We'll figure that out in a moment. This one will be out like this. I think the interesting part of a squirrel is the big tail. So we'll have the big tail. Okay. I think this is pretty good. Oh, hey, eyes. We're doing a snowboarding squirrel, but we've already done, I'll show everybody. We've done a speed skating polar bear, and we've done bobsledding penguins, digging them. So now we're working on a snowboarding squirrel. This is just the sketch stage, so we're not there yet. I'm trying to figure out both how snowboarding and how squirrels work. I never snowboarded. I always wanted to, but I've not really had the chance. Okay, knee pads, feet, and boots. Oh yeah, we can do boots. Okay, his arm is going to be more like that. And his little squirrel paw. His other arm can be like that. That's fine. The top of his body is probably pointed that way a little bit. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to flip this over. Let's draw it this way. And then flip it over for it to be upside down. That's the back. So this has to be forward. Okay. Okay. I think he actually looks pretty good now that I'm looking at him from an angle I can see him better. Let's really put in these knee pads. I think they are in the right spot. And the boots, which we're just seeing over they're locked into the snowboard. So knee pads and boots. I'm just going to color those in, get them nailed down, and get them out of the way. This is where his tail will be coming from, which fits with the tail I've already drawn. That's really great. This okay, body, head. Okay, body. Okay, so he's a little bit more bent over than I thought, but I think that works out. His head will be a little bit closer. I think his head is a little bit smaller than I had drawn it. I know he probably should be wearing a helmet, but I want to have his little squirrel face. What the heck? All of a sudden he started looking like a dinosaur. I was like, perfect squirrel, like, and then all of a sudden dinosaur. What the heck happened? Okay. This arm is too long still. Dang, squirrel, I didn't know you were going to give me so much trouble. It's all right. I should have drawn him bigger. I think that's a big part of this. My struggle right now is I'm trying to do too much detail on too small of a character. All right. I don't think this guy's looking bad. I think we can do better. And I think why not do better? He's little. I don't know what's going on. I like choked on some water before. Let's just go big. Okay. Squirrel head. Squirrel legs. Might be a little too big. But we're getting the idea. Okay. Leg forward. Hip. Knee. Foot. Hip. And the body will be here. And this can go more bent. That's totally fine. Okay. We can still put boots on them, but we'll do that after. Let's try to get the basic shape worked out. Okay. This is body somewhere. This will be head. Yep, I think this is fine. Yeah, if we wanted him to touch the snowboard like humans do, he'd have to be like really bent over. So we can still do that. So that means his butt would be sticking way out here. There, his body is like this. The tail would be like over here, but we'll deal with that in a second. This is, I really want to get his, squirrels have like gigantic thighs, essentially. I want to make sure I get that because it's going to help ground the rest of him. Okay. So now his head's going to be here, but now his body is low enough that if he's grabbing this front of the snowboard, it doesn't feel totally crazy. Okay, head, snout. Hang on. Shoulder, tail comes from the butt. Do that real quick. I like that. Back arm, we'll deal with that after we put in the head. So this is like where the head connects. I want to be looking forward, but okay. He's kind of looking right at us, but not really, which is a little bit more complicated than I would do if I was planning it better, but no. I should look up a reference for a squirrel's face. I don't know what I'm... My advice is always to look up references. I don't know why I'm not looking up a reference right now, so let me do that. So there's two major squirrels. I always draw the gray squirrel. There might be more than two. I always draw the gray squirrel because that's what I grew up with. But I think for this one, I'm gonna do the red squirrel because I never draw them. They're a little endangered. Okay. I'm actually not doing bad. I think for a red squirrel, the nose is a little bit lower. The mouth is a little bit cuter somehow. The ears are pretty much in the right spot. Oh, this is what I was saying. So I used to love The Sword in the Stone, the movie The Sword in the Stone, the animated. And there's a red squirrel in that. And I was like, man, they like made this squirrel look really weird compared to like what actually squirrels look like. And it wasn't until like years and years later where I learned that like red squirrels were a thing. And I was like, oh, because it's in Britain and like in the island of Britain has these red squirrels instead of the gray squirrels that I grew up with. It's just a normal squirrel, just not by me. That's like when you watch a Japanese anime. I grew up where there was plenty of raccoons, tons of raccoons. And then I'd watch Japanese anime, and they'd be like, "Here's a raccoon." I mean, that's not what a freaking raccoon looks like. And then as I got older, I understood like there's an animal in Japan that they call a raccoon, and that is what it looks like. I'm gonna give this squirrel like a kind of sly smile. Like he's rocking it. Okay. And I'm gonna give him a more squirrely arm instead of the straight arm I drew. Perfect. And let's clean up. I think we got the body right. Let's add in the details and clean up some of this scribbly mess that is my work process. Hmm. I lost my. Oh, here it is. You guys see my face? Oh yeah, so there's the raccoon dog, right? But isn't there like I used to know the name of it, like it's a raccoon and it's like man, squirrels have the freakiest hands. Like I feel like so many animals have hands instead of paws, and squirrels are definitely one of them. Their hands like look crazy to me. Um, t tucking. Hmm. I don't remember what it's actually called, but is it a raccoon dog? Is that what we would call it? I'm not sure. I know there's like myths about it. It can shapeshift. Tanuki, thank you, thank you, thank you. No, this squirrel curling. kit. Curling's an elephant sport. Everybody knows that. No, I don't know what I would do for curling, but I'll do it. I'll curl. I love curling. What do they call it? The chess of the ice. I would curl. It seems like a really fun sport. Like we used to play this game at the billiard parlor because I'm old, so we had a billiard parlor where I grew up. Um, it was like a long table. It reminds me a lot of curling. It's like a long table, and you have these like pucks that you slide across the table, and they have to get in the. Basically, it's curling, but on a little table. Is it kind of like I've heard that shuttle shuffleboard? Shuffleboard is similar also. I've never played shuffleboard. But we used to play games like this with like well, mostly at the billiard place. I did end up giving him little boots. Because I feel like it just makes sense for snowboarding. I guess we could wrap his little feet around and have him be like holding the board with little squirrel feet. That would work. Hmm. Hmm. Nah, we'll keep it with boots. So where's his other arm coming from? So that's that. The rest of his other leg is going to be behind his body. It's like here. Like, yeah, it's here. So we're not seeing any of that, but where would his other arm be? Like here. And kind of, let's say he's holding it straight out. I think we would see his other arm, just the end of it. And the hand, I guess, is that's the end of the arm, the hand. Oh, I remembered which way the thumb goes without having to hold my hands up. I'm the hero. Oh yeah, Tanuki, they would play curling. Actually, that sounds so fun. Does the Japanese team, do they have a curling team? They have a pretty big winter sport thing going on, don't they? Until I started like learning a lot about Japan and doing research, I had no idea. Like, it's interesting to see the culture that's represented like outside of like the internal culture of Japan. I started following a bunch of Japanese people um, on Instagram. And well, so what happened was when I first started releasing my art on Instagram, it was very different, but I got a lot of Japanese followers and comments and likes and stuff. So I started following back. And then a lot of the people I was following back were just like regular people. And so then they would do just like regular posts. And then I started learning. I just heard somebody outside my window go, online piece of shit. So clearly, like ridiculously clearly. Now they're beeping. I have no idea. They are loud. I feel like the boots are, oh, yeah. So I didn't know how beautiful wintry Japan could be. For some reason in my mind, I didn't realize it was so temperate, or it was so four seasons. Okay, I have decided I am going to use his little claws to hold on to the board. I think boots are just not doing it for him. Again, or her. I don't know how to tell the gender of squirrels. It's not in my repertoire. So then I learned about like Okinawa and how there's a lot of like beach culture there, like vacation beach culture. Like I grew up in the Hamptons, which is a beach summer vacation resort kind of thing, and that's very similar in a lot of ways. And like they have the mountain regions with like tons of snow and like winter sports and that kind of thing. And it just like it made me realize how like so many places, right? Like Japan had been made almost two-dimensional in my mind from the media that comes out of there and that is produced about the place also. Like when I had thought of Japan, I thought of Tokyo basically. Tokyo or like like the countryside of Studio Ghibli and other of that type of media. And then that makes a lot of sense. I live in the United States, if you couldn't tell, and you hear a lot of people coming to visit the United States and they talk about things and they're like, "Oh, I went to California, right? Or I went to Texas because like that's where somebody I knew was, and so that's where I visited." And I was so surprised they didn't have all these things. Like, I don't know, red fire hydrants or manhole covers that looked a certain way or like street lights that looked a certain way. And it makes me remember and realize that like the United States often gets flattened into like a very New York centric kind of view. Even because even movies that are shot and take place in California will often use like New York, like set dressing or okay, not bad. I could do a little bit better on the shape of his face, but otherwise I'm pretty happy with this guy. It took a lot of work to get here, especially because I started very tiny and then Kyoto, yeah, yeah, that's also true. Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. I follow a creator who talks a lot about Kyoto because that's where he lives. And like he talks about how different, even though it's, I think, is it the second most populated city? Um, but it's certainly a huge cultural hub for the Japanese, especially because of its history and its placement. He talks about how it's like how it's very different from Tokyo and how like in Japan people will be like, "Oh, that's Kyoto style." And like how it can have that kind of thing going on. Ooh, yeah, wait. I think I recognize that. Abroad in Japan. I'm gonna write that down just to I think I switched from using mostly Instagram to using mostly YouTube, and I didn't like find all my Instagram people on YouTube. It didn't occur to me at the time. Um, so sometimes I'm like, I haven't seen this person in forever, and it's just because I follow them on Instagram and I don't use Instagram that much. Yeah, this giraffe, he's seeing everybody. All right. What are we doing? 740 something. The squirrel took longer than I thought, and I'm trying to think if I should do Tanuki's doing curling or if I should just call it an evening. Let me look up Tanuki. Yes, raccoon dog. I did not know that's what it was called. Hmm. Okay, I think we can do this, especially if we do like the Japanese traditional they just make them look like fat people. I think we can do that. Okay, we have the snowboarding squirrel. we have the speed skating polar bear. We have done the bobsledding penguins. And last but not least, let's do the curling tanuki. Curling stones, I forget how heavy they are. They're expensive and they can only be made from stone that is quarried from a single place, a single island off the coast of Scotland. Well, it's off the coast of the UK somewhere. I was just thinking, even just this scene is harder than I think. But there we go. That's kind of what their faces look like. Little hand. What is the position that they use in curling? They're kind of like one knee bent, one leg back. I don't know what they do with this arm, so I'm just gonna also put it back. He's far back there. He threw the stone. And then you have the brooming people. I've come much too far forward. That's the broom. Which direction does this go? So I guess he's really far back. He should have been moved up a little bit. Look down, buddy. What you look like, Tanuki? How do people? I think it's funny. The thing that I'm struggling with isn't really the Tanuki as much as like how do people broom things? Wait, do they have the same kind of big raccoony tails? No. No. They do have giant shape-shifting testicles. That's the Japanese. All right. Let's see. I don't think this one's bad, so we'll leave him. Let's draw one here, brooming. Leaning way forward. his burrow. All right, this was not the right choice. So I'm gonna call it a little early. I made my curling stone too big in the beginning. What do they weigh? Like 90 pounds or something? I don't know why I'm like being weird about the cartoon. All right, I'm gonna end on the squirrel. We have the speed skating polar bear. Loved it. The bobsledding penguins. Loved it. The snowboarding squirrel. Thought he was pretty cool. What was that thing? Remember, there's a optical illusion where if somebody's mouth and eyes are upside down, but you're looking at their face upside down also, your brain is like, yep, that's fine. Doesn't bother me one bit. And I think that's strange. For a little while, I was like, there's something wrong with that, right? But I still couldn't tell what it was. But now that I know the optical illusion, I will often specifically check for it, and that makes it a lot easier to see. It's strange how there are some optical illusions that once you know them, don't work as well on you. I feel like, you know what it is? I feel like then if that's the case, it's not really an optical illusion. It's more of a psychological illusion. But we don't really have a word for that. We call both, I think, optical illusions. And then there's some that no matter how well you know them, you just cannot get your brain to see the real thing. You can only see the illusion. Now that feels like an because it's something broken. I say broken. It's something taking advantage of the quirks about how your eyes interact with your brain. Like like the moving dot illusion, or and then there's some that are kind of in between, like the spinning ballerina. I feel like that one is a little bit of both because it does take advantage of the fact that your eyes like can't determine the way your eyes work and interact with your brain about how they determine like depth and that kind of thing. But once you know it, you can manipulate it a little bit better, or you can manipulate your perception of it. Another one that I feel like is a psychological illusion. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Oddfud. Just Oddfud's birthday a couple days ago. Is there's like my brain is at a loss. Another psychological illusion. Oh yeah, the color one. So like if you draw a scene that looks like it takes place at night or that is in shadow, and you put a medium gray in that scene, your brain goes, got it, dark gray. And if you take a scene, it can be exactly the same scene, but it looks like it's in the daytime or it's in bright light, and you put a medium gray in the scene, your brain goes, got it, light gray. Even though they can be exactly the same color. And it just goes to show that like color is not, it's dependent on the things that surround it. If you haven't looked it up, or if you've not seen it before, there's an illusion where there's a picture of a fire truck, and the fire truck is very clearly red. But then, if you actually take just the color of the fire truck and you separate it, it's blue. And in fact, everything in the picture is blue. And that's like an illusion using like relative color and how our brains perceive relative color, which is so freaking strange. It's why like color theory becomes so important. It's not because like there's a right or a wrong or whatever color for different things. It's just like there's so much crazy things that colors can do when they interact with the things around them or with the people seeing them. All right. This is me. I'm going to get off. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really good stream. Loved this. Loved everything, even the Tanuki. I'm going to speed away. Okay. I'm going to tell one story before I go. Speed skating. Speed skater. Usually, speed skating is done where everyone kind of goes halfway, like conserves energy for the last lap. And then in the last lap, you like slam it and you try to get in front of everybody. Well, I think it was 2 Olympics ago, there was a woman, I believe from China, but I'm not 100%, and she slammed it on the first lap. And people were like, "Oh, that's crazy," but like they weren't gonna try to beat her then. That didn't make any sense to them. Like that's not their strategy. And then by the time it was the last lap, everybody had kind of forgotten that she was a whole lap ahead. You can watch it online. It's crazy. So everyone else is doing their, like, I don't know, like let's call it 5 laps. I don't know how many laps it is. Everybody else is doing their 5th lap and they start going hard. And there's like a pack of skaters all in their 5th lap trying to like get around this lap so to then be able to get to the finish line here. Or, they do 2 laps at the end or whatever. And then she's like in the back of the pack, but she's one whole lap ahead of everybody. So as they come around, all fighting for the spot to be in the best spot for the next lap, she just kind of stays in the middle or at the end of the pack, but she's one lap ahead of everybody. So she finishes and wins the race while everybody else is still jockeying for position and essentially jockeying for second. It's crazy. All right. Bye.